I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this E3 has kind of been a bit of a disappointment to me. EA sucked. Microsoft, that was a bit of a disappointment I felt personally. Bethesda, not much to go on there. Ubisoft today, just absolutely terrible. There's been some cool stuff like the limited run games announcements, and of course the arcade one-up stuff with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I was hoping that Square Enix could potentially save this E3. And save this E3 they did. Square Enix brought the heat this E3. There was so much cool stuff, so many new announcements, so many surprises. I just absolutely loved Square Enix's conference. Sure, there was a few negative points, but we'll talk about all of that in this upcoming video. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's react to Square Enix's E3 2019.
Hey, RGT85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my god, it's Stevie Richards! So they started things out with a bang. Obviously, one of the biggest games that they have in their catalog is Final Fantasy VII and the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and a lot of people were looking forward to information on this game. During the Final Fantasy Orchestra last night, they actually revealed some information on the game, and they actually gave a release date for there as well, which we'll talk about in this video. But they showed Final Fantasy VII Remake, and wow. I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy VII fan in the world. I always thought it was a bit of an overrated RPG. I did recently play it again when it came out on the Nintendo Switch, and I enjoyed it more so than I thought I would. But Final Fantasy VII Remake looks absolutely fantastic. I think you don't even need to be a fan of JRPGs to enjoy this game because of the combat system in the game. It's definitely catered more towards an action style combat system, but I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. You can do all sorts of really cool stuff. There's real-time action in combat, and there's a tactical mode that sort of slows down time so that you can use items and ATBs to charge different spells and things like that. I thought it was really cool. It looks very fast and very fluid. You can also switch between characters on the fly with a single button, which is awesome in my opinion, because obviously you're going to have multiple characters in your party. Speaking of the party system, Tifa was actually finally shown in this game. For some reason they've been really weird about showing Tifa, but I thought Tifa looked really cool. Of course, her knuckle fighter style looks really great in this game as well. They showed some really cool gameplay involving Tifa. They showed a Sentinel battle that obviously happens very early in the game featuring Cloud and Barret, and it just looks absolutely amazing. The gameplay just looks so damn good, and I'm so happy that they didn't do a turn-based style. I know initially when this game was first unveiled, I thought a lot of people may be against this sort of action-based style, but I think after seeing the action style in action, no pun intended, I think it works immensely well. I think it's really going to favor this game and make this game something special. What's crazy is this game is actually going to be shipping on 2 Blu-rays. That's how big this game is, and it will be releasing on March 3rd of 2020. So next year, early next year, this is obviously going to be a huge game for Square Enix. It's going to be a huge game for the video game industry. And like I said, I don't necessarily think you need to be a diehard JRPG fan to find enjoyment in this game. The combat looks a lot sort of like a Devil May Cry sort of game, or a Bayonetta sort of game where you do button presses to get different combos going. I absolutely love it. I thought it just looked fantastic. Everything they showed from this game looks fantastic, and I just can't wait to explore the world of Final Fantasy VII through a fresh set of eyes. I obviously just recently played through Final Fantasy VII on the Nintendo Switch, the classic version, so this game is very fresh in my memory. So come next year, I'm definitely looking forward to this. It's a day one purchase, and honestly, it's probably going to be one of the biggest games of 2020, if not the biggest game of 2020. Moving right along, they showed some Life is Strange 2 stuff. I don't play Life is Strange, that's not my style of game. They showed some Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered footage. Very brief stuff. The game is actually also coming to mobile devices as well. I guess that's kind of cool. It is also releasing on the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch, and that will be coming in winter of this year. Octopath Traveler was also shown off for the PC. That's something that's been heavily rumored, and it'll be available on Steam very soon. Actually, it might be out tonight. I don't know. I didn't write that down in my notes, but I think it might actually be out tonight. And speaking of stealth drops, we got a stealth drop for the Nintendo Switch with The Last Remnant Remastered. Now, this was a game that actually released on the Xbox 360, and it got sort of mediocre reviews. I believe a remastered edition released on the PS4 digitally only last December, and now this game is available now on the Nintendo Switch. It's a game that I'm not really familiar with. Like I said, I saw some mediocre reviews for the game, but maybe they've improved on some of the stuff. What I saw from the game looked pretty cool. I may check it out. I haven't checked out the price point of it or anything like that. It is is a digital only download as of right now. There's no word if there will be a physical copy releasing in Asia or anything like that, like we see with a lot of Play Asia games, but definitely something very cool. A stealth drop for a Nintendo Switch game with the last Remnant remastered, so that was pretty neat to see. Then they showed off Dragon Quest Builders 2, and this game looks freaking awesome, man. Like, Dragon Quest Builders 1 surprised me with how much I enjoyed that game because it's not really my style of game, but everything about Dragon Quest Builders 2 just looks like so much better. Like, the worlds that you're building look so much bigger and more vibrant and more stuff to do. It's just so crazy how good the combat looks too. They really sort of refined the combat from a more simplistic style to something a little bit deeper. It's not necessarily as deep as something like a Devil May Cry or a turn-based action RPG, but I definitely think it looks deeper than what we saw. There's a bunch of different ways to traverse through the areas that you're going to be playing in and building in. You could build much bigger structures. You could play online with friends. Just absolutely awesome stuff. I thought this game looks fantastic, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this game. It looks like it's coming out for the PS4 in July of this year. They did not mention the Nintendo Switch release date version of the game. I guess it's been delayed somewhat, but it will be available on the PS4 in July. I think it's going to be a big hit because it looks really good. They also briefly showed off Dragon Quest XI for the Nintendo Switch. I really like this retro art style that they have that you could switch to on the fly. It's not something like half-assed. It legit looks like a 16-bit style RPG game, and you know, the fact that you could switch this on the fly I think is just so cool, and it's a really cool addition to the Nintendo Switch version of the game. They did not give a concrete release date for this version of the game. They did say fall of 2019, but I did not play Dragon Quest XI on other consoles. I was waiting for the Nintendo Switch version, so I'll be picking that up day one. It looks absolutely fantastic. Dragon Quest is an underrated RPG series, which is weird to say because it's been around for so long, but I just feel like people don't respect that series enough. So Dragon Quest XI coming this fall to the Nintendo Switch looks absolutely fantastic. Then we got some smaller games. This is where the presentation, I don't know, might have bogged down a little bit. You got some smaller games, such as a game called Circuit Superstars, which is a top-down racing game that is a multi-platform release that will be releasing in 2020. Sort of like an old-school racing game. I guess it doesn't look terrible or anything like that. But the next game, I don't know about this. Battalion 1944. It literally looks and reminds me of like PS2 and PS3 war-era shooters, and I know I'm a sucker for those types of games, but like this is just like a cut-and-paste clone of those style of games. It doesn't really seem like it has its own identity in any way, shape, or form. This game will be coming out on Steam. It's definitely a pass for me. Then we got some information on Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC that will be coming in this winter. I didn't play Kingdom Hearts 3, but I guess that's cool for fans of the series. We got a big update on Final Fantasy XIV Online. No real personal interest in this. I don't really play MMORPGs or anything like that, but that will be releasing on July 2nd. We briefly showed off a teaser for Dying Light 2, and then two big games that have never released in the West were confirmed to be coming to the West, with Romancing Saga 3 and Saga Scarlet Grace Ambition. These games will be coming out on the Nintendo Switch and PS4. The Xbox One will be getting Romancing Saga 3, but will not be getting Saga Scarlet Grace Ambition. Both games look absolutely fantastic. RPG fans had so much stuff to enjoy in this presentation done by Square Enix, and this was definitely a very cool announcement to see these games finally getting localized for the West. Moving on, then they showed off a new IP called Outriders. Now this game is being done by the team behind Gears of War Judgment and Bulletstorm. It is a summer 2020 release. They didn't really show much of the actual game though. It was just sort of CGI stuff, and they kind of tried to explain the game to me, but I don't know. I would like to see some gameplay from it before making any sort of indication on whether I think this game is going to be good or not. It does look like it has potential, but like I said, you know, I want to see a bit more from this game. It was arguably the weakest point of the presentation. It just kind of dragged on a little bit, I felt. It didn't really need all that much time. And then they gave an update for Anunnaki, which is a new RPG coming to us from the studio that did I Am Setsuna. And they actually have recently done a graphical update to this game. This game will be coming out on the Nintendo Switch, and I think it looks a lot better than the games like I Am Setsuna. I Am Setsuna had sort of a minimalistic art style to it, and this game definitely looks more refined. There were some really cool attacks that you could do in this game as well. I was actually pretty impressed by this game. It seems like the development cycle has really helped this game, and this game may actually end up being really good. It's coming out on August 22nd, so it's something that I'm going to be looking forward to. And then Final Fantasy VIII, the game that can't be remastered, the game that won't be remastered, is being remastered. It's coming out on all platforms in 2019, and honestly, it's time to revisit Squall. Like, Squall was a cool character. I liked Squall. I liked Final Fantasy VIII. I thought it was a fun game, so to see this game getting the remaster treatment in the style of games like Final Fantasy VII is very, very cool. It's great to have all of these classic Final Fantasies available on your current platform of choice. It will be available on all platforms, so definitely a very cool announcement. And then they ended with a banger, the Marvel Avengers game that a lot of people have been looking forward to, a lot of people want information on, but they really just sort of showed mostly CGI. I feel like some of it was blended in with actual gameplay as well, but they really only showed mostly CGI. But what they showed was absolutely fantastic. Like, this game looks absolutely epic. It looks so crazy. You have 5 different characters at the start of the game. They are doing subsequent DLC for this game, but they did announce that all DLC and all new areas that you can get for this game via their roadmap for this game will be free to download. So that is a huge win in my opinion. There's not going to be any loot boxes. There's not going to be any pay to win mechanics in this game. It seems like it's going to be a very solid experience from day one, with them just adding in more Avengers characters, because there's obviously a lot of Avengers characters to use. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Avengers movies or Marvel movies or anything like that, but I do enjoy superhero games. I think they're super fun, no pun intended. And this game just looks like it's going to be absolutely epic. You can play solo, you can play co-op, you can play online with friends. It just looks like it's going to be a huge game. And Square Enix, that is pretty much the point of their presentation. They showed so many games. They showed gameplay of so many games. They had new announcements. They had surprises. Sure, there were some lull points in the presentation. Sure, there were times when it dragged on a bit, but this is what an E3 presentation should be. You talk about games that we know about, and you show the gameplay for those games. You talk about games we don't know about, and you give us a reason to care about these games. You bring in new surprise announcements, stealth drops, and then you unleash this massive game with Marvel Avengers. Square Enix knocked it out of the park. This is a great E3 press conference, and considering it was a traditional E3 press conference, I'm absolutely blown away by this. Square Enix did a fantastic job. So many games to talk about, so many games to look forward to, and I'm very, very excited. As long as Nintendo can follow this up, I think E3 might be safe. We don't have to cancel E3 anymore. We don't have to cancel E3. Maybe just Ubisoft's E3 and maybe Bethesda's and EA's. But anyways, guys, let me know in the comments section down below what you thought of Square Enix's press conference. Were you as blown away as I am? Are you surprised to see the evolution of games like Final Fantasy VII Remake and see this awesome new combat system? What did you think of Marvel Avengers? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. The E3 coverage is just getting started. I'm hearing rumors that there's going to be more Arcade 1-Up announcements tomorrow. My wallet is weeping, man, and we still got Nintendo, so make sure you guys stick around. We just passed 220,000 subscribers. The views have been popping off the charts. Thank you guys so much. I love all of you guys, and as always, I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.